You think black skin steals my legacy? In Elite Grace Hospital's VIP suite, Isabella Kane lunged at the bed, eyes blazing with rage. Landon Brooks pleaded, "Isabella, enough!" She snarled, "Enough when you're gone!" Her red-nailed hand slapped Aaliyah Brooks's swollen belly. Bang! Aaliyah arched in agony, amniotic fluid gushing, blood-staining white sheets. Monitors screamed red alerts, fetal heart plunging. Landon froze. Isabella cackled, "Miscarry now, thief!" Vote 1. Epic twist awaits. Prediction: Mistress crumbles. Family secret explodes. Will the baby survive? Who's Isabella's father? Justice or revenge? Listen to the end. You won't believe it. The VIP suite at Elite Grace Hospital smelled of fresh lilies and antiseptic, a scent Aaliyah Brooks had come to love over the past week. At 30, her dark skin glowed against the silk sheets, her natural curls tied high in a loose knot that let a few defiant strands frame her face. 39 weeks pregnant, she lay on her side, one hand cradling the taut dome of her belly, where Zion kicked in slow, deliberate rolls. The fetal monitor strapped across her skin beeped a steady 142 beats per minute, her lullaby. She pressed the phone to her ear, listening to Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell promise no mountain was high enough, and smiled. Landon's text still glowed on the screen. Landing 6:45. Can't wait to feel him kick. She believed him. She always had. The door clicked open without a knock. Landon stepped in first, shoulders slumped under a rumpled navy vest, eyes bloodshot from red-eye flights and secrets. He dropped his valise, leaned over the bed, and brushed his lips against her forehead. "Sorry, love." Dubai ran long. His voice carried the faint rasp of exhaustion, but his hand found hers, squeezing with the old warmth. For a moment, Aaliyah let herself sink into it. Then the second shadow crossed the threshold. Isabella Kane glided in like a blade unsheathed, white skin luminous under the recessed lights, platinum hair cascading in calculated waves. The red sequin dress clung to every curve, ending high enough to flash the lace tops of her stockings. 12-centimeter stilettos clicked across the marble with the precision of gunfire. Tom Ford Outwood announced her before she spoke. Opulent, invasive, impossible to ignore. "Cute," Isabella said, eyes flicking to the monitor. The little hybrid's heartbeat is strong. Aaliyah's fingers tightened on Landon's. "This is a prenatal visit, not a board meeting." Landon cleared his throat. "Isabella's signing the pediatric wing donation. 5 minutes. Tops." Isabella's laugh was glass-shattering. 5 minutes to watch you play house with stolen money." She tapped her phone, scrolling emails with manicured nails the color of fresh blood. 8 million USD trust fund for a child not even born yet. My inheritance, Landon. Mine. Aaliyah felt the first cold twist in her gut, deeper than any kick. That fund is for Zion's future. You know that. Do I? Isabella stepped closer, heels stabbing the floor. Or is it reparations for marrying beneath the Kane name? Landon's face drained. Isabella, shut up. She yanked the oxygen cannula from Aaliyah's nose, the plastic whipping free with a hiss. You think black skin entitles you to my legacy? Aaliyah's breath hitched. The monitor spiked. 148, 152. Landon, get her out. He reached for Isabella's arm, but she twisted away, eyes feral. Enough when you're gone! The slap came lightning fast. Isabella's palm cracked across Aaliyah's swollen belly with a sound like a gunshot in a cathedral. Pain exploded white-hot. Aaliyah's spine bowed off the mattress, a guttural cry tearing from her throat. Warm fluid gushed between her thighs, soaking the sheets in a dark, spreading bloom. Blood followed, thick, arterial red, threading through the clear rush of amniotic fluid. The fetal monitor screamed. 140, 120, 100. Aaliyah clutched her stomach, fingers slipping in the slick mess. My baby, oh God, my baby! Landon stood rooted, mouth open, the color of old ash. Isabella's chest heaved, lips curled in triumph. Miscarry now, thief. Problem solved. The door burst open again. Head nurse Marisol Ramirez, 40 and unflappable, took in the scene in one heartbeat. Blood, fluid, the monitor's frantic red strobe. She hit the code button. OB stat, room 1208, fetal distress, possible abruption. Alarms wailed down the corridor. Aaliyah's vision tunneled, the ceiling lights blurring into halos. She felt Zion thrash once, hard, then go terrifyingly still. Stay with me, little man. Mommy's here. Footsteps thundered closer. Dr. Reginald Grant, 62, silver-haired, Rolex glinting under the cuff of his white coat, skidded through the doorway. His gaze swept the carnage. Aaliyah curled fetal, sheets crimson, Landon paralyzed. Isabella smirking, hands still raised. The monitor flatlined to 60 BPM. Reginald's face went the color of bone. He dropped to his knees beside the bed, gloved hands already probing. Abruption, grade 3, or 1, now. His voice cracked on the last word, something raw and paternal bleeding through the clinical steel. Aaliyah's eyes locked on his, pleading. Save him. Please. Reginald's jaw clenched so hard a muscle jumped. He looked up, and for the first time, his gaze fixed not on the patient, but on the woman in red. Isabella Kane, he said, the name a verdict. What have you done? Reginald's hands trembled as he pressed the ultrasound probe against Aaliyah's blood-slick abdomen, the gel cold and forgotten. The screen flickered to life. Grayscale chaos. Placenta tearing away in ragged sheets. Fetal heart stuttering like a dying bird. Or 1, crash cart, Oneg, 4 units. His roar ricocheted off the walls, but beneath the command, Aaliyah heard the fracture. Fear not for protocol, but for something bone deep. Isabella's smirk faltered. I barely touched her. She's dramatic. Reginald's head snapped up. The man who had delivered Manhattan's elite for 3 decades looked suddenly ancient, eyes blazing with a fury that made Landon step back. You are my daughter, he said, voice low, lethal. The child I left in a crack house crib because I was too high to hold you. 20 years I've paid for that sin. Swiss boarding schools, anonymous trusts, every birthday card unsigned. And this is how you repay me? By trying to murder my grandson? The room imploded into silence. Isabella's knees buckled. The sequins on her dress caught the light like shattered glass. Dad? The word cracked, a child's plea wrapped in a woman's venom. Landon's world tilted. You're her father? Reginald ignored him. He scooped Aaliyah into his arms, bridal, desperate, her blood soaking his coat in blooming roses. You will kneel, he told Isabella, and beg forgiveness from the woman carrying my bloodline. Or I swear on every dollar I've ever earned, I will bury you. Isabella dropped. The marble floor was unforgiving against her knees, but she barely felt it. Mascara rivers carved black paths down porcelain cheeks. I'm sorry, she whispered to Aaliyah's belly, voice splintering. I didn't know. The money was for him. I thought what? Reginald's snarl cut deeper than any scalpel. That jealousy justifies filicide? I built this hospital on redemption, Isabella. Yours ends here unless you choose differently. Right now. Aaliyah's contractions hit like freight trains, each one ripping a scream from her throat. Between waves, she managed, Reginald, save him, please. He was already moving, barking orders as nurses swarmed. Push 2 of fentanyl. Prep the Belmont for massive transfusion. The gurney wheels sang a frantic song down the corridor, Isabella crawling after it on blood-smeared knees, Landon trailing like a ghost. In the elevator, Reginald cradled Aaliyah's head, his thumb brushing tears from her cheek. Listen to me, daughter-in-law. Zion is a fighter, like his mother. I've lost 1 child to my demons. I will not lose another. His voice broke on the last word, and for the first time Aaliyah saw the man beneath the legend. A father who had clawed his way back from hell, only to watch his past try to drag his future into the grave. The OR doors slammed open. Scrub nurses danced around them in choreographed panic. Reginald's hands, steady now, surgeon's hands, lifted Aaliyah onto the table. Spinal, now, knife! Isabella was barred at the door, security's grip iron on her arms. She screamed, Let me see my brother! But the doors sealed with hydraulic finality, leaving her alone with the echo of her own monstrous laughter. Inside, the world narrowed to steel and light. Reginald's scalpel flashed. Fan and steel incision. 10 blade. Blood welled, bright and obscene. He suctioned, cursed under his breath as the placenta peeled away in chunks. Heart rate 45 and dropping. Get the Neo team. Aaliyah floated on the edge of consciousness, morphine a thin veil. She felt the cold swipe of betadine, heard the hiss of the cautery. Reginald, she rasped, if I don't make it, you will. His voice was steel wrapped in velvet. Both of you. The neonatal crash cart rolled in, tiny warming bed glowing like a promise. Reginald's hands delved deeper, fingers brushing the amniotic sac. I've got him. Cord around the neck once, unclamping now. A collective exhale as the loop slipped free. Then the cry, thin, furious, perfect. Zion emerged slick and squalling, fists pumping the air as if already fighting the world. Apgar 4 at 1 minute, 8 at 5. The room erupted in relieved laughter, tears, and applause. Reginald cut the cord himself, hands shaking again. He wrapped the boy in a blanket the color of sunrise and placed him on Aaliyah's chest. Skin to skin, heartbeat to heartbeat. Welcome to the fight, little man, he whispered, pressing a kiss to Zion's damp curls. Then to Aaliyah, you did it. He's here. Outside the glass, Isabella watched through the observation window, face pressed to the cold pane. For the first time in her life, she looked small. Aaliyah's world was Zion's weight on her chest. Warm, impossibly light, impossibly heavy. His tiny fist curled around her finger, heartbeat fluttering against her skin like a trapped moth. She couldn't stop the tears. They slid sideways into her hair, salt mixing with the iodine still sharp in the air. Hey, little warrior, she whispered, voice raw from screaming. Mommy's got you. Reginald stood sentinel, coat discarded, sleeves rolled to the elbow, blood dried in rust-colored crescents under his nails. He watched the monitors. Aaliyah's pressure climbing to 110/70. Zion's oxygen sat at 98. Stable, miracle. But his eyes kept drifting to the door, where shadows moved like sharks. The OR doors hadn't fully closed before the storm hit. FBI agent Marquez, badge flashing under the fluorescence, marched in with 2 DEA suits in tow. Dr. Grant, step back. We have warrants. Handcuffs glinted. Landon was first, wrists yanked behind his back, face the color of wet cement. Landon Brooks, you're under arrest for wire fraud and conspiracy to conceal assets. Landon's knees buckled. Aaliyah, she turned her face away, Zion's cry the only sound between them. Isabella was next. Agents hauled her from the observation window, sequins ripping as she fought. Dad, tell them it's a mistake. Her voice cracked into something childlike, terrifying. Reginald didn't flinch. You assaulted a patient in my hospital. You endangered my grandson. The mistake was mine, 28 years ago. Marquez slapped the tablet on the crash cart. Security footage looped, Isabella's hand arcing, the slap, the gush of fluid. Attempted feticide, aggravated assault, and this, he swiped to blockchain logs. Cocaine shipments routed through Brooks Tech wallets. Your daughter's the mule. Mr. Brooks is the banker. Isabella's scream echoed down the hall as they dragged her out. I'll lose everything. Vogue, Victoria's Secret. Dad, please. Reginald's answer was a whisper only Aaliyah heard. You already have. Back in the recovery suite, the world shrank to beeps and whispers. Aaliyah traced Zion's perfect eyebrows, the slope of his nose, so like Landon's, yet hers in every fierce breath. He's beautiful, she said, voice cracking. Reginald pulled the stool close, elbows on knees, the weight of decades in his slump. I should have told you. About her. About me. Aaliyah shook her head. You saved him. That's what matters. But the door opened again. This time, a nurse with a phone. Dr. Grant, TMZ's live. The clip's at 2 million views. Reginald took the device. The screen showed Isabella in cuffs, mascara streaking, screaming as flashbulbs exploded. Headline, Supermodel slaps pregnant wife. Turns out she's dad's secret daughter. Aaliyah closed her eyes. The room spun. Reginald muted it. Let them feast. We focus on you two. He reached for Zion's tiny foot, thumb brushing the sole. The baby kicked, hard. A laugh escaped Aaliyah, half sob. He's got opinions already. Like his mother. Reginald's smile didn't reach his eyes. Sleep. I'll stand guard. Hours bled into the evening. Landon's calls went to voicemail. Isabella's publicist issued a statement. Deep regret, seeking help. Twitter burned. Justice for Aaliyah trended worldwide. Aaliyah woke to Reginald changing Zion's diaper with the awkward tenderness of a man who'd never done it sober. You're a natural, she teased. I've had practice, in my nightmares. He folded the tiny onesie, hands shaking. I left her in a cardboard box, Aaliyah. Thought money would fix it. It doesn't. She reached for his hand. Then be here now. For him. Outside, paparazzi camped the lobby. Inside, the suite became a fortress. Reginald slept in the recliner, suit rumpled, one eye on the monitor. Aaliyah watched Zion's chest rise and fall, counting breaths like rosary beads. At 2:13 a.m., her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered. Landon's voice, broken. They're saying 20 years. Aaliyah, I didn't know about the drugs. You knew enough to lie. She hung up, heart splintering. Zion stirred, whimpered. She lifted him to her breast, the pain of the C-section a dull roar beneath the sharper ache of betrayal. Reginald stirred. He'll beg. They always do. Let him. Aaliyah kissed Zion's forehead. We have everything we need right here. The city lights flickered beyond the window, a million eyes watching. But in that room, there was only the soft suckle of new life, the steady beep of survival, and a grandfather's vow whispered into the dark. No one touches my family again. Dawn crept through the blinds in pale gold stripes, painting Zion's tiny face in soft light. Aaliyah hadn't slept. Every time she drifted, the slap echoed, the wet crack of palm on flesh, the gush that followed. But Zion nursed greedily, his latch strong, a fighter from the first breath. She traced the curve of his ear, whispering apologies for the world he'd entered. Reginald entered with coffee and resolve, tie askew, eyes ringed violet. Board meeting at Brooks Tech starts in 30. They want blood. He set a tablet on the tray. Live feed from the Manhattan skyscraper. 8 directors in charcoal suits stared at a frozen frame. Isabella's hand mid-swing. Stock ticker bled red. 45%. Aaliyah's stomach nodded. Landon built that company from nothing. He built it on lies. Reginald's voice was gravelly. Watch. The feed cut to Landon, unshaven in an orange jumpsuit, video linked from holding. I take full responsibility, he stammered, but his eyes darted like a trapped animal. The interim chair, a woman with steel gray hair, leaned forward. You funneled $2 million through shell accounts to hide an affair. Resignation effective immediately. SEC's next. The screen went black. Aaliyah's laugh was bitter. He thought money bought silence. Reginald squeezed her shoulder. It buys lawyers, not peace. Across town, Isabella paced her cell, orange fabric swallowing her frame. The Victoria's Secret rep's video call played on loop in her mind. Contract terminated. Morality clause. Her Instagram, 5 million followers gone. Shadow banned into oblivion. She scratched at the walls, nails breaking, whispering, they'll forget. Scandals fade. But the mirror showed a stranger, eyes swollen, hair matted, the glamour stripped like cheap paint. She scrawled a letter on prison stationery, hands shaking from withdrawal sweats. Dad, 24 hours clean. I was scared. Scared of losing everything to her, to him. Forgive me, I'll be better. She sealed it with a tear. Back at Elite Grace, Reginald received the envelope during rounds. He read it in the corridor, face unreadable, then tore it in half quarters, eighths, confetti of regret fluttering into the bin. She's sorry for the mirror she broke, not the life she tried to shatter. Aaliyah overheard from the doorway, Zion asleep against her chest. She's your blood. She's poison, I brood. His voice cracked. I won't let it touch you two. The day blurred in a haze of lactation consultants and legal briefings. Aaliyah signed divorce papers with a pen that felt like lead. Landon's assets, 60% frozen pending fraud charges, included the $8 million trust now irreversibly Zion's. He wanted a son, she murmured. He'll never hold him. Reginald nodded. Some losses are mercy. Evening brought visitors. Marisol with homemade empanadas, the Neo team with a tiny Knicks onesie. Laughter echoed, fragile but real. Aaliyah let herself believe in tomorrows. Then the phone rang. Hospital PR. CNN wants Reginald outside. More justice for Aaliyah at 15 million. He stepped into the flashbulb storm, coat flapping like a cape, microphones thrust forward. Violence has no color, he said, voice steady, thunder. Only consequence. My grandson lives because love fought harder than hate. The crowd roared. Inside, Aaliyah watched on mute, Zion's fist clutching her hospital gown. That's your grandpa, she told him. He's teaching the world how to protect you. Night fell. Reginald returned, exhaustion carving deeper lines. He lifted Zion from the bassinet, rocking him with the awkward grace of rediscovered fatherhood. I used to sing to her, he confessed, lullabies in rehab hallways. She never heard them. Aaliyah's eyes softened. Sing to him now. His baritone filled the room, cracked but true. Hush, little baby. Don't you cry. Zion's lashes fluttered, a sigh escaping rosebud lips. Outside, paparazzi drones buzzed like angry bees. But the suite was a cocoon. Aaliyah drifted, dreaming of first steps, first words, not courtrooms. At 3:07 a.m., her phone lit again. Landon, she let it ring. Voicemail. Sobs, pleas, promises. She deleted without listening. Reginald took the device, crushed it under his heel. New beginnings don't need old chains. Dawn broke again, softer. Zion stirred, hungry. Aaliyah lifted him, pain in her incision a badge of survival. Reginald brewed coffee, the mundane act grounding them. Tomorrow, he said, we go home, to the brownstone. New locks, new life. Aaliyah nodded, tears falling into Zion's hair. Home sounds perfect. But in the quiet, she felt the storm's eye passing. Isabella's trial loomed. Landon's empire crumbled. And somewhere, a grandfather's guilt forged into unbreakable armor. Zion latched, suckling with fierce determination. Aaliyah closed her eyes, letting the rhythm anchor her. The world outside could rage. In here, love had already won the first battle. 3 days blurred into a rhythm of feedings, vital checks, and the soft click of Reginald's loafers pacing the suite like a sentinel. Aaliyah's incision throbbed with every shift, but pain was a small price for Zion's gurgles, tiny symphonies that drowned the nightmares. She sat propped against pillows. Zion latched to her breast, his dark curls damp against her skin. The world outside the window was a distant hum. In here, time measured in ounces of milk and heartbeats. Reginald entered with a bouquet of white lilies, their scent cutting through the sterile air. He set them on the sill, fingers lingering on a petal. He's gaining 3 ounces already. His voice held wonder, as if miracles were new to him. Aaliyah smiled faintly, wincing as Zion detached with a pop. He's greedy, like his grandpa with second chances. Reginald's laugh was rusty, unused. He sank into the chair, elbows on knees, staring at Zion's perfect fists. I don't deserve that title. Tell me why. Her words were gentle, but insistent. The air thickened with unspoken history. He exhaled, long and ragged, eyes drifting to the past. The room dimmed as if shadows obeyed his command. It began in a haze of white powder and neon regrets. Reginald at 30, coke-fueled nights in Harlem clinics, scalpel steady only under fluorescent highs. One dawn, he stumbled from a bender to find his girlfriend gone, leaving a newborn wailing in a cardboard box lined with newspaper. Isabella. He stared at her tiny face, his nose, his mother's eyes, and panic clawed. I'll kill her with my hands. So he fled, an anonymous drop at a church orphanage. A note, better without me. Years dissolved in guilt and grinders. Rehab at 35, white-knuckled sobriety. He clawed to chief of obstetrics, pouring penance into every delivery. Anonymous wires to Swiss accounts, tuition, birthdays, graduations. He watched from afar, Isabella's first runway, her Vogue cover, the ice in her smile. "I thought distance was mercy," he said, voice cracking. "Turns out it was cowardice." Aaliyah's hand covered his. "You came back for us." "I came back too late for her." His eyes glistened. "She learned hate in the vacuum I left. Money bought polish, not soul." Zion stirred, a soft whimper. Reginald lifted him instinctively, cradling the boy against his chest. "But this one, I'll teach him differently." The door buzzed. PR again. Reginald stepped into the hallway, phone to his ear. CNN's anchor. "Dr. Grant, live in 5. The world wants your story." He returned minutes later, tie straightened, but eyes storm-tossed. "They're calling it the slap heard round the world. 15 million tweets, petitions for harsher fetal assault laws." Aaliyah's heart swelled and ached. "Let them talk. We heal." The afternoon brought sunlight and shadows. Marisol wheeled in a bassinet decorated with blue balloons. "From the staff, for the little king." Aaliyah laughed through tears, reading cards. "You fought like hell, Mama." Reginald's phone vibrated incessantly. Board offers, interview requests. He silenced it. "Today's for family." But the family fractured further. A guard delivered mail. Isabella's second letter, smudged with prison ink. "Day 5 clean. Dreams of the brother I almost killed. Tell him Aunt Izzy's sorry." Reginald read aloud, voice flat. Aaliyah took the paper, fingers tracing the desperate scrawl. "She's breaking. She broke you first." His tone was ice, but his hand trembled. Evening settled in lavender hues. Zion slept in Reginald's arms, tiny snores syncing with the monitor's lullaby beep. Aaliyah watched them, silver hair against ebony curls, and felt the first thread of peace weave through her grief. "Sing again," she murmured. Reginald's baritone rose, softer now. "Daddy's gonna buy you a mockingbird." The melody wrapped the room like a blanket. Outside, the city pulsed with outrage and awe, but in here, redemption whispered its fragile promise. As stars pricked the sky, Aaliyah drifted, Zion's warmth anchoring her. Dreams came gentle, no slaps, only first steps on sunlit grass. Reginald stayed awake, rocking, guarding. The past had clawed its way in, but the future, small, fierce breathing, fought harder. And in the quiet, love began its slow, stubborn mend. The federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan loomed like a granite sentinel, marble steps slick with winter rain. Aaliyah arrived in a wheelchair pushed by Reginald. Zion bundled against her chest in a cashmere blanket the color of storm clouds. She hadn't wanted to come, her incision still pulled with every breath, but the prosecutor insisted, "Your presence seals the narrative." Crowds parted, umbrellas blooming like black flowers, cameras flashing in relentless bursts. Justice for Aaliyah banners waved. Someone thrust a teddy bear into her lap. She clutched it for Zion, heart pounding harder than the gavel would. Inside, the courtroom smelled of polished wood and tension. Isabella sat at the defense table, orange jumpsuit swallowing her once runway frame, hair in a severe ponytail that aged her a decade. She didn't look up when Aaliyah entered, but her shoulders hitched. A sob swallowed. Landon was absent, plea bargained into house arrest, his empire auctioned piece by piece. Prosecutor Elena Vasquez, sharp suit, sharper eyes, rose first. "Your Honor, the state presents video evidence." The screen lit. 8K clarity, Isabella's slap in slow motion, the belly rippling, fluid exploding. Gasps rippled through the gallery. Aaliyah's hand flew to her scar, phantom pain flaring. Zion stirred, whimpered. She rocked him instinctively, shushing with a lullaby under her breath. Reginald took the stand next, oath steady, but eyes stormy. Vasquez. "Dr. Grant, describe the injury." "Grade 3 abruption," he said, voice clinical steel. "Placenta detached 40%. Fetal heart rate crashed to 45. Without immediate cesarean, both mother and child died within minutes." Defense counsel, a slick man in Italian loafers, objected. "Speculative." Overruled. Vasquez pressed, "And the defendant's relation?" Reginald's gaze pinned Isabella. "My biological daughter, abandoned at birth due to my addiction. I funded her life anonymously, education, luxury. She repaid by attempting to erase my grandson out of jealousy over the inheritance. The gallery murmured. Isabella's head snapped up, eyes pleading. Dad! Objection! Sustained! But the damage bloomed. Aaliyah's turn. The wheelchair rolled to the box, Zion asleep in Reginald's arms now. She swore, voice trembling but clear. She called my son a thief before he breathed. The slap wasn't an impulse. It was hate. I felt my world end in that moment. Tears fell, but she didn't wipe them. Zion survived by grace. She doesn't get to steal that. Cross-examination tried to twist. Mrs. Brooks, weren't you aware of the affair? I was aware of love, Aaliyah shot back. Blind, maybe, but not complicit. The judge, a woman with kind eyes and an iron gavel, leaned forward. Anything further? Vasquez submitted medical records, blockchain cocaine trails, and Landon's fraudulent transfers. Defense crumbled. Character witnesses evaporated under scrutiny. Isabella took the stand last, voice small. I was scared. The money was my security. Dad gone. Then this family I wasn't part of. Sobs. I didn't mean... Lies, Reginald muttered from the bench, loud enough for the mic. Closing, Vasquez thundered. This isn't jealousy. It's attempted murder, wrapped in privilege. Defense pleaded diminished capacity, cocaine psychosis. The jury deliberated for 90 minutes. Guilty. All counts. The gavel cracked like the slap reborn. Isabella Kane, 42 months federal prison, $5 million restitution to Aaliyah and Zion Brooks. Landon Brooks, divorce finalized, 60% assets forfeited, including $8 million trust irrevocably to the child. Isabella collapsed, wailing as bailiffs cuffed her. Dad, I'll change, please. Reginald stood, Zion in his arms. Change starts with truth. You'll have time. He turned away. Outside, the rain had stopped. Crowds cheered, Justice! As Aaliyah emerged, wheelchair traded for Reginald's steady arm. Microphones surged. How do you feel? She looked at Zion's peaceful face. Grateful. For life. For truth. Paparazzi flashed, but her smile was armor. Landon's final text buzzed, deleted unread. In the limo home Zion cooed, Reginald kissed his grandson's forehead. Court's over. Healing begins. Aaliyah leaned into him, exhaustion crashing. One battle at a time. The city blurred past, headlines already shifting. From slap to sentence. A family's reckoning. But in the quiet leather interior, 3 generations breathed as one. Wounded but unbreakable. A year slipped by like pages in a well-worn book, each day turning with Zion's milestones. First tooth, first word, grandpa. First wobbly steps across the brownstone sunlit floors. Elite Grace Hospital had transformed too. The VIP suite where blood once stained sheets now gleamed as the Aliyah Zion suite. Walls painted soft blues, murals of blooming lilies climbing toward skylights. Aaliyah stood in the conference room adjacent, suit crisp white, nerves fluttering like the butterflies pinned to the invitation cards. Reginald adjusted his tie in the mirror, silver hair catching the light. Nervous? Terrified, she admitted, smoothing her skirt. Zion toddled between them, chubby legs pumping, clutching a toy stethoscope. What if no one comes? They'll come. His smile was proud, paternal. You built this. The room filled slowly at first. Nurses in scrubs, doctors shedding white coats. Then a flood. Survivors in wheelchairs, mothers with newborns, activists with signs. Reginald took the podium, voice booming yet tender. Today we dedicate the Zion Heart Foundation, not to tragedy, but triumph. 20 million seed from the Grant Family Trust. Legal aid, counseling, safe houses for pregnant women facing violence. Any color, any story. Applause thundered. Aaliyah stepped up, Zion on her hip, his giggles cutting the formality. This wing saved my son. Now it saves others. From the slap that nearly ended us to the love that rebuilt us. Thank you. Tears shone, but her chin lifted. Zion heart beats for every mother who fights. Reginald cut the red ribbon with ceremonial scissors. Zion helping with pudgy hands. Cameras flashed. Donors pledged more. In the crowd, Marisol wiped her eyes, whispering, "That's our queen." Across the city in a minimum security library smelling of old paper and lemon polish, Isabella sat at a scarred table. Her hair, grown out naturally, no more platinum, fell in soft waves. Orange jumpsuit traded for khakis after good behavior. She turned pages of How to Heal a Broken Family, underlining, "Forgiveness is not absolution, it's release." Her journal lay open, day 312 clean. "I hated my skin because Dad vanished. Thought white meant worth. Now I see the brother I almost erased. His laugh in dreams haunts me. Earned the right to hear it awake." Group therapy circled her, women sharing scars. She spoke last. "I was the monster, learning to be human." Early release loomed, 2 weeks. Back at Elite Grace, the reception spilled into the suite. Zion chased balloons, shrieking delight. Aaliyah mingled, handshakes turning to hugs. A donor pressed a check. "For the mothers no one sees." Reginald pulled her aside, eyes misty. "You turned hell into haven." "We did." She glanced at Zion, now examining a doctor's knee with his toy. "He's the heart." The evening wound down. Reginald lifted Zion piggyback, the boy's laughter echoing halls once filled with alarms. "Grandpa, fly!" Aaliyah watched, chest full. The Foundation's first case file waited on her desk. A teen mom, abused, scared. "We start tomorrow." In the fading light, she touched the mural lily, petals unfurling. Pain had cracked her open, but from the fracture grew this: purpose, unbreakable. Isabella's release papers were signed that night. She folded her few belongings, heart pounding. One chance. Don't waste it. The city hummed below, oblivious. But in Elite Grace, hope had taken root. Deep, defiant, blooming. The hospital gates gleamed under the afternoon sun, wrought iron polished to a forgiving sheen. Isabella stood just beyond them, a simple white cotton shirt tucked into jeans, hair cropped short and honest, a single white lily trembling in her grip. No makeup, no armor, only the raw etch of prison pallor and eyes that had learned to look down before daring up. Released at dawn, she had walked the 3 miles, rehearsing words that dissolved on her tongue. Inside, the corridor smelled of fresh paint and possibility. Aaliyah pushed Zion's stroller at a leisurely pace, the boy's curls bouncing as he pointed at the ceiling balloons left from yesterday's event. "Mama, up!" His voice echoed, bright and unafraid. Aaliyah's laugh was soft, her healed scar hidden under a flowing blouse. But the strength in her stride was undeniable. Isabella's breath caught. She stepped forward, knees threatening to fold. The lily drooped. "Aaliyah!" Aaliyah halted, hand tightening on the handle. Zion peered around the canopy, dark eyes curious. Recognition flickered. Photos, perhaps, or instinct. He extended a pudgy hand. "Hi!" Isabella sank to one knee. Lily offered like a truce flag. "May I see him? I've changed. Therapy, sobriety, every day." Her voice cracked. No performance left. "I don't deserve it, but I'm asking." Aaliyah studied her. The sister-in-law by blood's cruel joke. The woman who had once tried to erase her world. Time had softened edges, but memory sharpened them. "Love isn't earned in words," Aaliyah said quietly. "It's proven in silence, in choices." Reginald appeared from a side door, coat over his arm, Zion's tiny backpack slung on his shoulder. He froze, the air thickening. Isabella rose slowly, tears carving clean paths. "Dad." He didn't move. "You're early." "Good behavior," a whisper. "I read your letters, the ones you never answered. I understand why." Zion babbled, reaching for the lily. Isabella extended it. He grasped the stem, petals brushing his cheek. A giggle escaped him, pure and disarming. Reginald's resolve cracked, just a hairline. "Family isn't blood," he said, echoing his own hard-won truth. "It's a choice. Daily. Painful." Aaliyah knelt beside the stroller, eye level with Isabella. "One visit, supervised. No promises." Isabella nodded, tears falling unchecked. "Thank you." Reginald lifted Zion into his arms, the boy immediately patting his grandfather's cheek. "Grandpa." Then to Isabella, Tentative, wondrous, he stretched out the lily. She took it with shaking fingers, pressing it to her heart. They walked the corridor together, four silhouettes against the light. No cameras, no crowds, just the squeak of stroller wheels, Zion's chatter, and the fragile bridge of a flower. Outside, the city roared on, but in that hallway, redemption took its first unsteady step. Zion Heart Foundation's plaque gleamed for every color of courage. Love, it turned out, could begin again. One lily, one choice, one heartbeat at a time. And there you have it, the slap that shattered a family, the secrets that nearly destroyed it, and the love that rebuilt it stronger. What did this story stir in you? The rage at injustice? The hope in redemption? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Your voice matters. Thank you for listening with open hearts. Until next time, stay fierce, stay kind. See you soon.